Hello, everyone. Let me turn that off. Perfect. I think we're good to start. My hair is being a little bit cut off, but that's fine. All right. So, hello, everyone. Today we're going to have another webinar on today's topic. Today's topic is going to be why warehouse efficiency breaks down after ERP implementation. So, let's dive right into it. Let me make sure everything's working correctly. It should. Nice. Okay. Um, so, as I mentioned, today's topic, it's one of the most expensive problems in modern operations. You spend 12, 18, sometimes 24 months implementing a new ERP system. You invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. You go live, and then instead of seeing the efficiency gains you were promised, your warehouse slows down. Picking takes longer, inventory counts stop matching, your team complains the new system is harder than the old one. Shipments are delayed. Customer complaints start climbing. If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And it is not because your ERP was a bad investment. It's because ERP by itself doesn't fix the warehouse floor. And as I mentioned, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So over the next, 40 to 50 minutes, I'll walk you through why this happens, what's actually breaking, and what the fix looks like in real operations. So let's get started. Go to the next slide here. Okay, everything seems to be working as expected. Wonderful. All right. So, as some of you might know me already, my name is Stan. I'm a partner client solutions executive at Cleverence. And over the past a little bit over 10 years, I've been working in warehouse and inventory management automation across wholesale, dealerships, manufacturing, e-commerce, retail, as many as, and also some other ones as well, like 3PLs. What that means for today's conversation is I've been on the floor during these ERP rollouts. I've seen what breaks. I've watched a couple of companies invest enormous amounts of money in beautiful enterprise software, and then watch their order fulfillment times double. Everything you'll hear today comes from real projects with real businesses, not from a vendor pitch deck. My contact details are going to be on the last slide, so you can always, get in contact with me. So if, of course, anything you hear today sounds like your situation, just reach out to me directly after the session. I'd rather have a 5-minute honest conversation about your specific operation than send you a generic follow-up email. So let's keep moving. So what's the plan? Here's what we're covering today. We start by diagnosing the problem, why warehouse efficiency drops after ERP go live, and the specific challenges companies face after that kind of digital transformation. Then we get into the fix, how to avoid those operational slowdowns, and how specifically Cleverance solves this gap. We'll look at a real case study from business that went through exactly this scenario, and finally, everyone leaves with a guide that you can take back to your team this week, and you can check it out. 6 segments, 40 to 50 minutes. Let's start with the gap between what ERP promises and what actually happens on the warehouse floor. Let's start by talking about the ERP promise and what's actually happening in reality. Let's set the stage with the central paradox of this whole topic. When you buy an ERP system, whether that's SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, Odoo, or any of the dozens of others, you're sold a clear promise, end-to-end visibility, process automation, real-time data, one source of truth across your entire business. And in many areas of the business, that promise is delivered. Finance gets cleaner books, procurement gets better supplier visibility, sales gets unified customer data. But here's what nobody warns you about. Almost universally, in the first 3 to 6 months after ERP go live, warehouse performance gets worse, not better. Picking times go up, inventory accuracy drops, workers complain, order errors increase. And the reason is hidden in plain sight on this slide. ERP improves planning, but execution might suffer. That's the core insight today. So, why is that? Because ERP is built for management and visibility, not for the physical movement of the goods. Your warehouse team now has to learn new workflows, navigate new screens, follow new processes, and the system is asking them to do all of that without giving them tools designed for how warehouse work actually happens. They're suddenly clicking through ERP screens at a workstation instead of walking the floor with a scanner or any kind of those type of devices to physically confirm what's going on with the inventory. Sometimes even worse, they're still doing the work on paper, then walking back to the terminal to type everything into the ERP system after the fact. So not in real time. Double work, higher error rates, slower execution. And the larger your warehouse, the more SKUs you have, of course, the more complex your operations are. The more pronounced this efficiency drop becomes. We've seen mid-sized distributors lose 20 to 30% of their warehouse throughput in the months following an ERP go live, simply because the warehouse floor was never optimized as part of the project. That's the gap we're going to spend the rest of this session unpacking, and more importantly, fixing. So let's look specifically at what's causing this efficiency drop. So let's get specific. Why exactly does efficiency drop? 5 reasons. And I want you to notice that none of them are about the ERP being a bad system. They're all about something that wasn't included in the project scope. First, manual warehouse operations remain unchanged. The ERP is implemented at the management layer. The actual work on the floor, counting, picking, packing, receiving, continues to happen the same way it did before, often with paper, often with manual data entry. The ERP doesn't reach down to where the goods physically move. Second, ERP adds extra data entry steps. This one is particularly painful because the new system requires more structured data than the old one. Workers now have to enter more information for every transaction: lot numbers, serial numbers, bin locations, and they often have to enter it twice, once on paper or in their head while doing the physical, and then again at the terminal afterward. Third, slow barcode or paper-based processes. Many companies go live on ERP without modernizing their data capture. So you have a state-of-the-art enterprise system being fed by handwritten checklists and manually keyed in barcodes. The bottleneck moves from the system to the human. So number 4, poor integration with mobile devices. The ERP has a beautiful desktop interface. Let's be honest. Most of them do. But warehouse workers don't sit at desktops. They walk, they reach, they lift, among many, many other tough tasks that they're doing there. Without proper mobile execution, the system literally cannot keep up with the pace of the work. And the fifth, real-time inventory updates are missing because the data is being entered in batches after the fact. Inventory in the ERP is always behind what's actually on the shelves. Decisions are being made on stale data. That's how stockouts happen even when the system says you have stock. 5 reasons, every single one is fixable, and none of them require ripping out your ERP. And these system level problems hit your warehouse staff first. So let's talk about the people side, because the staff impact is real and managers often underestimate it. After ERP go live, your warehouse team is asked to retrain on processes they've been doing for years, sometimes decades. That's hard. People resist change, and especially when the new system feels slower or more complicated than what they were doing before. More clicks, more screens. Where a worker used to do a task in 2 steps, now it's 6. Where there was no system before, now there's a mandatory logging, a mandatory document selection, and a mandatory confirmation. Every additional step is a place where time leaks out of the day, increased risk of human error. When workers are forced to memorize complex steps, when they're typing instead of scanning, when they're switching between paper and screen, mistakes multiply. And the new errors are often more expensive than the old ones because they're now flowing through automated processes that propagate the error downstream. Resistance to new processes. This is a leadership challenge as much as a technical one. The best warehouse people you have, the experienced senior workers who really know the operation, are often the ones who push back the hardest because they can clearly see the new system is slowing them down. And productivity temporarily decreases. The word temporarily is pretty important here. With the right execution layer, this is a recoverable problem. But without that layer, temporary can stretch into a permanent new baseline. Complex systems create friction on the warehouse floor. That's the quote on this slide, and it captures the issue exactly. ERP on its own adds complexity. The fix isn't to remove the ERP, the fix is to add a layer that absorbs that complexity before it reaches the worker. And on top of staff friction, you lose something even more valuable, and that's real time visibility. This slide shows you a pretty good visual cascade, and I want you to follow it with me because each step makes the next one inevitable. It starts with delayed ERP data because the warehouse floor isn't feeding the ERP in real time. The system always lags behind reality by an hour, by a shift, sometimes by a full day. That delay leads directly to inventory mismatches. What the ERP says is in bin A12 is not actually what's in bin A12. The numbers diverge from the physical reality more and more as the day progresses. Inventory mismatches lead to picking errors. The system tells the picker to go grab 3 units of SKU X from a specific location, but those units aren't there, or the wrong items are already there. Now, the picker is hunting, asking colleagues, escalating to a supervisor. Managers lose operational transparency. The dashboards that were supposed to give leadership a clear view of the warehouse now show numbers that no one fully trusts. So decisions get made by phone call, by walking the floor, by gut instinct, the exact opposite of what ERP was supposed to deliver. And finally, decision making slows down. Replenishment timing becomes guesswork. Customer service can't promise accurate delivery dates. Procurement either overstocks or stocks out. The cost of the original data lag, which seemed like a small thing, becomes a strategic liability for the entire business. This is what happens when the warehouse floor isn't connected to the ERP in real time, and it's exactly what mobile execution layer solves. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the difference between ERP and a real warehouse management layer. This is a slide I want every CFO and every operations director to understand clearly, because it's where the most of the confusion in this whole topic originates. ERP and WMS are not the same thing. They're not interchangeable. They're not even competing. They're designed to do completely different jobs. ERP is a system of a record. It tracks what your business has, owns, and plans. It's the backbone for finance, procurement, sales, and management reporting. It's brilliant at that job. But there are 5 specific warehouse activities that ERP, by its design, cannot optimize at the floor level. Picking, the actual moving through the aisles, scanning items, validating quantities, confirming the right SKU. ERP doesn't sequence pick paths. It doesn't validate scans in real time. It doesn't optimize routes through the warehouse. Then we have receiving, the inspection, verification, and recording of inbound shipments at the dock. ERP can hold the purchase order, but it can guide the receiver step by step through verifying that what arrived actually matches what was ordered. Put away. the decision of where to physically place incoming goods. ERP doesn't think about bin capacity, ABC velocity, or where the closest free location is. Then we have cycle counting, the ongoing reconciliation between physical stock and system stock. ERP shows you the discrepancy after the fact. A warehouse execution layer prevents the discrepancy from happening in the first place. And mobile workflows, the actual handheld, scanner driven, voice driven, on the floor user experience. ERP was built for desktop users. Warehouse workers are not those users. So when companies try to run their warehouse purely from ERP, even sophisticated ERPs, these five activities suffer. That's not a flaw in your ERP. That's a flaw in expecting that the ERP will do something it was never designed to do. So let's look at what happens operationally when this gap goes unaddressed. And here's what it looks like in practice, not in theory, in actual business impact. Shipment delays. Orders that should ship same day take a day longer. Orders that should ship next day slip by 2 or 3 days. Customers notice immediately. Inventory inaccuracies. Stock levels drift from reality, which means the ERP gives sales a number that turns out to be wrong, which means customer commitments get broken. This is where small back office problems become real customer relationship problems. Longer picking times. It's another good one. Without optimized pick paths, without real time stock visibility, pickers walk farther, hunt longer, and complete fewer orders per hour. Throughput drops measurably, and labor cost per order obviously goes up. And so increased labor costs, whether you're paying overtime to clear the backlog, hiring extra temporary workers during the peak season, or just absorbing lower productivity per head, the bill shows up either in your payroll line or in your customer satisfaction scores, often in both. Customer complaints rise. Late shipments, wrong items, partial deliveries, missing items, all of these generate complaint volume. Your customer service team starts spending more time apologizing than selling. Your reviews start to slip. Your repeat purchase rate trends go down as well. And here's the line from the slide that every operations leader needs internalized. Small inefficiencies quickly become expensive. A 2% pick and error rate sounds tolerable until you multiply it across 10,000 orders per month. Then it's 200 angry customers every month. So what's the missing link? It's a single concept, and it's the most important word in this entire presentation, and that is mobility. If you only take one concept away today, I would take this one. The missing link between the ERP at the top of your tech stack and the warehouse worker at the bottom is mobility, specifically mobile execution. And let me break that down into the 5 components on this slide. So mobile execution is critical. The worker needs the system in their hand, on the floor, wherever they're working, not at a workstation they have to walk to. The system goes to them, not the other way around. Barcode scanning reduces errors. That's 100%. A scan is 1,000 times faster than typing and dramatically more accurate. When a worker scans the item instead of reading a label and typing the SKU, error rates drop to near zero. Real-time synchronization improves accuracy. Every action, every pick, every receipt, every move flows immediately into the ERP. No batching, no reconciliation at the end of the shift. The system always reflects reality. Warehouse workers need simple interfaces. This is where so many ERP rollouts fall short. The ERP screen has 50 fields. The warehouse worker needs to see maybe 3. A purpose-built mobile execution layer strips the interface down to exactly what the worker needs at exactly that moment and nothing more. Fast execution requires handheld devices. And whether that's a rugged industrial scanner, a smartphone, or a tablet, the device needs to be designed for the warehouse environment, not borrowed from the office when it's needed. Mobility is what turns ERP from a management tool into an operational reality. Without it, ERP stays an island. With it, ERP becomes the brain that gets connected to hands and feet across the entire warehouse. Knowing that mobility is the missing link, how do you actually restore efficiency in practice? How do you actually fix it? And there are 5 steps. Each is concrete, each is achievable in a reasonable timeline, and each is something you can begin with within the next 90 days. First, implement warehouse mobility solutions. Get the handheld devices in your workers' hands, get the mobile interface running on top of your existing ERP. This is step one, and it's the single highest impact investment for the lowest implementation effort. The second, integrate ERP with WMS capabilities. You don't need a separate massive enterprise WMS implementation. You need a warehouse execution capability that talks to your ERP cleanly, bidirectional, real time, and most modern solutions, including ours, do this with standard connectors in a matter of days, not months. Third, automate data collection. Replace every manual data entry point with a scan or a sensor read. Barcodes for SKUs, locations, and shipments, RFID where the volume justifies it. The goal is to eliminate keyboards from warehouse workflows entirely. Fourth, simplify warehouse workflows. Audit the new ERP driven processes. Find every place where workers are doing more steps than necessary. Strip those down. Often the fix is just smart screen design and the right sequence of prompts on the mobile device. And the fifth, use real time inventory tracking. Every transaction syncs immediately. Stock levels are always current. Cycle counting becomes a continuous background activity instead of a quarterly event that disrupts operations. So, 5 steps, none of them require major capital investment. None of them require months of training. All of them stack on top of your existing ERP. And together, they don't just restore the efficiency you lost, they push your warehouse to a level of performance you've never had before. And as you implement these steps, here are the best practices that separate successful rollouts from the ones that struggle. And yeah, before you go off and start implementing, let me share the 5 best practices that consistently separate successful rollouts from the ones, once again, that struggle. Seen the difference many times, and we should start with process analysis. Before you choose any technology, walk your warehouse with your operations team. Map the actual flow, find the bottlenecks, identify the specific points where errors happen most often. The right technology choice always follows from a clear understanding of the current process, never the other way around. Then, train warehouse teams early. Don't wait until go live to introduce the new tools. Bring your operators into the project as early as possible. The people who will use the system every day should have a voice in how it works. This dramatically reduces resistance and accelerates adoption. Avoid overcomplicated workflows. A common mistake is to use a new system as an opportunity to add controls and steps that weren't there before. Resist that. Match the workflow to how the work actually needs to flow, not how it might look ideal on a flowchart in a meeting room. And monitor KPIs continuously. Pick 3 to 5 warehouse KPIs: order fulfillment time, picking accuracy, inventory accuracy, lines per hour, labor cost per order, and track them daily after go live. You need real time data on the project's impact, not a quarterly retrospective. And finally, prioritize user friendly interfaces. The technology that wins is the technology your warehouse staff actually wants to use. If the interface is intuitive, training is short, errors are low, and adoption is high. If the interface is complex, training is long, and errors are constant, and you spend a year fighting your own workforce. So, 5 best practices, memorize them and apply them whether you choose Cleverance or anyone else. And when you do this right, here's the business impact that you should expect. What does success actually look like? in measurable terms, when you close the warehouse execution gap, a couple of things to go through here. Faster order fulfillment. Orders that took 2 days now ship the same day. Orders that took same day now ship within hours. This isn't theoretical. This is what we see consistently in projects that combine ERP with mobile warehouse execution, and customer satisfaction improves immediately. Higher inventory accuracy from 85 or 90%, which is industry typical for ERP only operations, up to 98 or 99%. That single shift eliminates an enormous category of downstream problems, including missed sales opportunities and emergency stock transfers. Reduced operational costs, less overtime, fewer temporary workers during peak, less reverse logistics from peak and errors, less customer service time on complaints. These cost savings stack, and they're usually significant enough to fund the project several times over. Now, better employee productivity. Workers complete more transactions per hour with less fatigue and less frustration. Turnover drops because the job is less stressful. The good employees stay longer. Improved customer satisfaction, faster shipments, accurate orders, fewer mistakes. Your customers notice every single one of those. Your repeat purchase rate climbs, your reviews improve, your reputation in the market grows. 5 outcomes. Every one of them is measurable. Every one of them is achievable within the first 6 months of a properly executed warehouse mobility project. And every one of them feeds your top and bottom line directly. Let me bring all of this together with the key takeaways before we look at the platform that delivers it. So, before we move into how Cleverence specifically delivers this, 4 key takeaways from everything we've covered. First, ERP implementation is only the first step. The fact that you went live on a new ERP does not mean your warehouse is automated. It means you have a powerful management layer that now needs an equally capable execution layer to underneath it. Second, warehouse efficiency requires operational execution tools, not strategy, not better dashboards, not another reorganization. Actual purpose-built tools designed for the way warehouse work physically happens. Third, mobility and automation are essential. They're not nice to have. They're not phase 2 projects. They are the missing piece that makes the entire ERP investment pay off the way it was supposed to. Fourth, companies that optimize their warehouse workflows gain a real competitive advantage, not a marginal improvement, a structural advantage. Faster, cheaper, more accurate operations than competitors who are stuck in the post ERP slowdown. And the quote on this slide says it directly. A successful ERP project must extend all the way to the warehouse floor. Anything less, and you're leaving the value of your investment trapped in the management layer. Now, let's get specific about what the right platform looks like. So if mobility is the missing link, what should the platform delivering it actually look like? And if you accept everything that we've talked about so far, the mobility and execution are the missing link. So what does that platform looks like that can deliver that? 6 requirements. And these are not Cleverance specific. These are what any serious warehouse execution platform should bring to the table. Mobile workflows for real operations, not retrofitted desktop screens shrunk down to phone size. Workflows designed from the ground up for handheld, scanner-driven, walking the floor work. Embedded business logic. The platform needs to know what a good pick actually looks like. It needs to validate scans against expectations, flag exceptions, prevent errors before they happened, not after. The intelligence is built into the workflow, not bolted on after the fact. Also, online and offline support. Warehouses pretty frequently have dead zones, cold storage, loading docks, yards. The platform has to keep working when connectivity drops and sync automatically when it comes back. Anything less is a non-starter for serious operations. Then we have fast integration with enterprise systems. That should be a given. You should not be doing a 6-month integration project to connect your warehouse layer to your ERP. Modern platforms come with pre-built connectors for the major ERPs and standard APIs for everything else. We typically integrate in weeks, not months. Flexibility across multiple use cases. The same platform that handles your warehouse should be able to extend to retail operations, last mile delivery, manufacturing, or asset tracking. Because most growing businesses end up needing more than one of those. And you don't want to manage 5 separate tools or 5 separate solutions, layers, if you wish. And finally, control, visibility, and growth potential. The platform should give management real-time control, operational visibility across all sites, and the ability to scale without re-platforming. The investment grows with the business, it doesn't cap it. These 6 are the checklist. Use them when you evaluate any vendor, including us. Now, let me show you what the final system actually looks like in practice. This slide shows you what the final state looks like if we're actually taking it straight to the point. Two people, one on the warehouse floor, one in the back office, connected in real time by a single platform. On the floor, the worker has a handheld device. They scan the items, no paperwork. Everything is done through the device. We have on-site verification, meaning the scan is validated against the system's expectations before the worker moves on. So errors get caught immediately, not at shipping or invoice reconciliation. The mobile workplace is convenient, designed for one-handed use, simple screens, clear instructions. Now, in the back office, the manager has full visibility. Remote supervision, they can see who's working on what in real time across the entire warehouse. Real-time data exchange, so every scan flows immediately into the ERP. And accurate ERP document status is also very important, meaning when a document says shipped, it actually is shipped. It's not, again, as we talked about, it's not something that we only see at the end of the ship, for example, or in a couple of hours. So when it says received, again, it is actually received. This is the bridge. The worker isn't isolated and the manager isn't blind. Both sides of the operation are connected through the same execution layer. And the ERP becomes the accurate, real-time source of truth it was supposed to be from day one. This is the picture I want you to hold in your mind. And as we go through what Cleverence is, how it's priced, and how you would actually deploy it. And one of the most important things to discuss before going farther is what this actually costs compared to alternatives. Let's take a look at that. I've covered that a couple of times now, but it's a really good example. So let's talk these numbers. This table compares 5 different ways of handling warehouse operations, ranked by monthly operational costs, and let's walk down it. At the top, manual checking, pure paper-based operations, with no scanning, no automation. Monthly cost $10,000. Yearly cost $120,000. That's the absorbed cost of all the manual labor, the error correction, the lost productivity, the reconciliation time. Most companies don't realize they're paying this much because the cost is very hidden across multiple line items and across multiple facilities in most cases. But when you total it, it's substantial. One step up from that is Excel or Google Sheets. Slightly better than pure manual because at least you have a digital record. Monthly cost $8,000. Still no real automation, just a thin layer of organization. Next, USB barcode scanner connected to a desktop or a laptop. Some automation, but the worker still has to walk back to the workstation. Monthly cost $4,000. Big improvement, but the bottleneck just moved a little. Next, a basic barcode app on the phone. Real mobility, but limited business logic, limited integration. Monthly cost, $2,500. And finally, Cleverence solution. Full mobile execution, real-time ERP integration, embedded business logic, online and offline support, monthly cost $1,000, yearly cost $12,000. Look at the headline at the bottom of the slide. Companies reduce their monthly costs by 90%, so saving $9,000 a month or $108,000 every year. And here's what's really important to understand. That's not Cleverence price being lower than competitors' price. That's the total operational cost of running your warehouse going down by 90%. Because the platform eliminates the hidden costs of errors, manual work, reconciliation, and rework. The ROI math on a project like this is unusually clean. The platform pays for itself many times over within the first year, if not a couple of months. Now, let me show you the actual product range that delivers this. So, Cleverence isn't just a single product, it's a suite of 5 purpose-built solutions, all running on one common platform, each designed for a specific operational context, and they're all interconnected. Inventory is our flagship, most relevant for wholesale, distribution, and manufacturing operations. It covers the complete warehouse lifecycle, goods arrival, pick and ship, stock taking, location transfers, bin level placement, write-offs. This is where most implementations start and where everything we've discussed today gets applied directly. Store ops is built for retail, so goods receiving, stock taking on the shop floor, repricing, and e-commerce order picking from physical retail locations. Delivery ops automates last mile delivery, routing, delivery confirmations, and payment collection via smartphone. Factory ops handles inventory movement within production environments. Raw materials, work in progress, finished goods, equipment, all tracked in real time as production happens. And assets handles fixed asset inventory. So equipment, tools, IT hardware, vehicles using barcodes and RFID. 5 products, one single platform that you can build off. You start with the one that addresses your most pressing pain right now. And as the business grows, you expand into the others without changing platforms. That's a critical point for companies thinking about long-term TCO. The investment in Cleverance today is also an investment in everything you might need 18, 24, 36 months from now. And here's the foundation that all 5 products are built on: the Cleverance platform. This slide shows the 4 foundational capabilities that underpin every Cleverance product. And what I want you to notice is that they map directly to everything we've talked about today. Let's kind of rehash that a little bit. Mobile and connected devices, smartphones, tablets, rugged handhelds, whatever fits your environment. This is the mobility piece we identified as the missing link. The system goes to the worker, not the other way around. Barcode and RFID technology, fast, reliable identification. This is what eliminates manual data entry, what cuts error rates to near zero, what makes scanning 1,000 times faster than typing. Both technologies supported natively in the platform. Real-time data integration with existing ERP systems. Pre-built connectors for SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, Odoo, QuickBooks, and many more. Standard APIs for everything else that if for some reason we don't have it already. Integration typically completed in weeks, as I mentioned earlier, not months, not years, of course. This is what eliminates the data lag that was causing all your visibility problems. And customizable workflows. That's very important because every business is different and unique. Even within the same industry, 2 distributors might run their warehouses completely differently. The platform supports configuration of workflows to match your specific business processes without custom development. These 4 together are what makes Cleverence work. Take any of them away and the system stops being effective. The combination is what closes the ERP to warehouse gap completely. So, how do you actually go from interested to implemented? Let me walk you through the process. It's pretty straightforward. 5 steps, and every one of them is designed to remove friction from your decision-making process. Step 1, pre-sale brief. You pick a convenient date, get on a call with our team, and share your project details and goals. No commitment, no pressure. The objective is for us to understand your operation, not for us to pitch you. We want to make sure that we are a great fit for you, just like we are a great fit for you, just like, it goes both ways. So, step 2, join chat. Direct communication with your dedicated project manager, someone who will own your project end to end. You align on expectations, timelines, and what success looks like for you. From this point forward, you have a single point of contact instead of navigating a sales to implementation handoff. Step 3, the demo. If your start date is within the next 2 weeks, you get hands-on experience with the actual product, not a slide deck, the real software configured close to how you'd actually use it. You see the workflows, you see the integration, you see how it would look in your environment, and most of the time with your data as well. Step 4, commercial offer. You receive a personalized commercial offer based on your specific project scope and timeline. Transparent pricing, no surprises. Step 5, project implementation. We begin the rollout. Depending on the complexity of your operation, that's typically anywhere from a few weeks to a couple of months. But every project has a clear start date, clear go live date, and a clear ownership structure on both sides. 5 steps. Most clients move from step 1 to step 5 in 5 to 10, 12 weeks, depending on how prepared their internal team is. That's not a multi-quarter project. That's a problem you can solve before the end of this quarter if you start the conversation today. Although the quarter is pretty, you get the point. So let me show you what this looks like in a real implementation, business that went through exactly the situation we've been describing. And we've covered this a couple of times, but let's take a look at APMG once again. They're a Dubai-based e-commerce spare parts distributor, over 100,000 SKUs, 17 warehouse workers at the time when we did the implementation, and custom ERP system in place. The situation when they came to us is almost a textbook example of what we've been talking about today. Their warehouse was split into 2 physical zones, the front half for bulky items like windshields and the back half for something smaller parts in address storage. The ERP was in place, so the brain was there. It was the source of truth for everything, and it worked well, but the warehouse floor was not connected to it operationally, just like how we talked about today. And the problem they were experiencing, and I'm quoting their own description here, was inefficiency in order processing and their address storage. So frequent picking errors and time-consuming product searches. Workers were spending more time hunting for items and verifying information than actually fulfilling orders. Order processing throughput was capped well below what their sales volume needed, and picking errors were generating expensive returns from their e-commerce customer base. So their custom ERP showed inventory levels that didn't match what was actually on the shelves or in specific bins, specific storage areas that they were expecting it to be. What we implemented was focused entirely on making warehouse operations mobile. In this specific case, we deployed Zebra mobile computers, 17 devices, 1 per worker. We rolled out the Cleverence software with specific workflow, delivery plan, document for inbound, order supply, document for procurement, reconciliation, cell level placement for the address storage zone, and order collection for outbound shipments. Every operation now happens scan by scan in real time, synced directly back to their ERP system. The results after the rollout are on the right side of the slide. 4 times increase in inventory turnover ratio, same warehouse, same team, moving 4 times the volume of inventory through it. 10,000 additional square meters of storage area because the operation became efficient enough at the existing site. The business was able to expand confidently into much larger space with proportional increases in labor or overhead. And, which I think most importantly, 99% reduction in staff errors. So picking errors, receiving errors, location errors, virtually eliminated. What I want you to notice is that this is not a science experiment or a flagship customer success story we cherry picked. This is a mid-size e-commerce distributor, 17 workers, custom ERP, exactly the profile of many of the businesses on this call. The technology works. The implementation is achievable. The results are measurable. And the case study is published. You can read it in full on cleverence.com. That brings us to the closing and what every attendee gets take home from today. So the next steps, it's a guide. Before we wrap up, every attendee on this webinar gets the free PDF guide you can see on the screen. It's just how to kind of calculate what you currently have and how you can increase your ROI in warehouse automation. It's a practical, structured walkthrough of how to think about ROI as you move through a warehouse automation project, from the initial assessment to mature optimization. It's not like a marketing brochure, it's a working document you can take to your operations team, your finance team, and your leadership, and use to build the internal business case for the kind of project we've been discussing today. You'll receive it by email once the webinar ends in the next couple hours. No further action needed on your part. If you are registered for today, you're gonna get it. Now, the contacts are on the last page as I promised. Everything is on the screen. Here we have my UAE line and my WhatsApp as well. So it's also Telegram as well. Different ways to get into contact with me. The best ones are usually email or Telegram. You can also scan the QR code, I believe. But yeah, the fastest ways are usually to send me a message, but you can always give me a call as well. If anything at all in today's session resonated, maybe you recognize your own operation in the ERP versus reality gap, or through the case study, I'd genuinely like to hear about it. Again, as we talked about earlier, not a pitch to you, just want to understand your situation and honestly tell you what fit would look like for your business and what implementation would actually involve and how it would solve your issues if you already know you have those. The website is cleverence.com. It is on the screen, I believe. Yeah. Product documentation, case studies, demo requests, and the full product portfolio are all there. There also you can test out the product by just registering online. The system automatically, the way we have set it up, it will automatically create a instance for you that you can connect to the mobile handheld, download the APK file, get it all connected, and you can actually do some scans if you have the mobile device, but you can do it with a smartphone as well, as we discussed. So you can actually take a look and play around with it and see how the system interacts with each other. That's about it. So thank you for your time today. I'll be here in case there are some questions in the chat for the next couple of minutes. Drop them in the comments, send them through, and I'll answer as many as I can live while we're still here. But that's about it. Once again, appreciate for everyone who have joined us today. Looking forward to our next webinar, and I do look forward to your emails, your messages, so we can get this started. Maybe it's just a matter of the next couple of months from you having a big pain right now in your operations to actually having an ease of mind when you finish work and go home using Cleverence. That's it. Thank you so much once again, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, morning, wherever you guys are. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.